All eyes are on Capitol Hill, where the GOP is racing to whip up the votes to revive that health care bill and reform and repeal Obamacare. The Freedom Caucus, now they're on board, but the big question is, will the Tuesday group now jump on? Meanwhile, lawmakers also working around the clock to avert a partial government shutdown. That's right, we're down to the wire, and it's Dems that are holding everything back. Let's bring in Congressman Louie Gohmert, a member of the Freedom Caucus. A contingency plan has been drawn up. He's here to help us break all of this down, the state of play. First of all, Representative Gohmert, let's start with the health care plan.
Sure.
The Freedom Caucus is on board. What did the trick?
Well, the main thing, once we realized we're not going to get full repeal, people needed relief from the premiums, and they didn't need to wait 3 years. CBO said 10 years, but we have got provisions in there that are going to repeal some of the mandates that drive up the cost of health care or health insurance. And the Tuesday group, you know, they're rightfully concerned about their constituents, just like the rest of us. And they wanted to make sure, and we're all in agreement, we're not going to take out the pre-existing condition language. We're all in agreement on it being 26 or younger. I'd support 50 and younger if you're living with your parents. Be on their insurance. That's fine. So those things will be there.
Well, let me just interject, if you don't mind, then.
Sure.
The essence of people younger people not being part of the system and not paying into it is what skews the ability for these things to work.
True.
I mean, if you have a bunch of young people who rarely get sick not paying into it, and a bunch of older folks who are paying a big amount of money, how can you stop their premiums from going up? This equation seems to be, I thought it was at the heart of your problems with this, and now it seems to be something you guys are overlooking.
No, we're not overlooking, and that is one of the things that has come in. One of the amendments that's been added actually will create high-risk pools. I had a huge objection to making them federal risk pools, but we're assured they're going to be devolved back to the states in a few years. But the high-risk pools, Maine and other states have done it effectively. Let the states deal with these issues, but the high-risk pool, like with car insurance, pulls out the high-risk folks, the people that drive up the cost dramatically. It makes sure they can still get insurance, but then it brings down the cost for everybody else. So that was one of the things that had to be added, and Tom MacArthur's amendment addresses that. So that's the Palmer and Schweikert amendment. Like I say, I got a problem with it being a federal high-risk pool to start with, but this is the best we're going to get. People have got to have relief from the premiums. We're taking out a lot of the mandates. It's as much a repeal as we're going to get, not quite as much as it was 2 years ago, but Tom Price is going to be able to do some good. I just wish we were repealing the whole thing ourselves, but in the meantime, it is going to give relief from high premiums as quickly as possible. We're not going to be able to help them this year, but it should make a difference for next year.
It's also given some relief to the pressure that was on the House Freedom Caucus, and you know, I know everyone goes to D.C. to work and to make legislation, but do you feel that you've let down some of your core supporters who really felt that it was critically important? In fact, we just did a Fox News poll, and 71% of our viewers, or people who participated in the poll, said fixing health care was the #1 most important thing you could do, even before reforming the tax system.
Yeah. It was.
It feels like there's some loopholes in here. You mentioned Tom Price. It also has to go to the Senate, where you know they're going to do their own version and send it back to you. And it's the version that you get back, assuming that it gets through the House, is probably going to challenge your core convictions even more.
Well, this is as far as we can go. So we're actually hopeful that it will be strengthened in the Senate. Now, that's unusual that conservatives in the House would have any hope at all that the Senate might strengthen it. But the senators are hearing, like we did, you know, people need to have help with their premiums. bring those things down. The deductibles need to come down. The premiums need to come down. I mean, basically, most people were having catastrophic insurance, even though under Obamacare, catastrophic insurance was not lawful. So,
sir, let me just ask, because
sure.
I don't want to run out of time without letting the audience know that you've introduced the Armed Services Always Paid, the ASAP Act.
Yeah, right.
I think this is in part just in case there's a government shutdown. You want to quickly tell us about it?
Yeah, well, the idea came back in 2011 when I realized that Speaker John Boehner, the new speaker, was going to try to use the military and demands for making sure the military got paid on time to get Republicans to vote for a bad bill. The problem with using the military like that was we got military in harm's way. Many of them are living month to month. They don't get paid that much. They may miss a month payment on a car or on their home. The last thing they need to worry about when they're in harm's way for us is that their check may not make it to the bank this month.
I agree.
And they lose the house. So anyway, we passed a bill in 2013 that only was good for a year. It needs to be permanent. It needs to be treated like Social Security. If there's a shutdown, the Social Security and our military still get paid. Always get paid. That needs to happen. We still need to do that no matter what.
That should pass with 100% bipartisan support.
Yeah,
I salute you
if we get to the floor.
I salute you for coming up with this idea and putting it in there. Congressman, you're always a great guest. Really appreciate it.